Welcome, everyone. I'll just give a minute so that a few more attendees can join, and then we'll start. Okay, guys. Maybe we'll start, and more attendees can join later as well. So, welcome everyone to CypressCon 2025. I'm thrilled that you are here, and I hope you're enjoying and learning our great speakers. Today, we are going to make our test pipelines rock and roll, connecting Cypress, GitHub Action, and Slack to create an automated test feedback loop that's smooth as your favorite playlist. By the end of your CI/CD pipeline setup, it will literally ping you before your coffee cools down. Are you ready? Okay, quick intro about me. I am Tanya. I'm a software developer in test working at Fashion Cloud. I have pleasure of wearing many hats from backend developer to QA engineer. And today I'm here as an automation DJ for you. Slightly about my company at Fashion Cloud, we are building Europe's leading B2B fashion platform. Our vision is simple: to connect brands and retailers seamlessly, so collaboration feels effortless. And automation like Cypress plays a huge role in ensuring that seamless experience. So here's a quick look about how my company Fashion Cloud products talk to each other. If you could notice the flows itself, they have brands, retailers, stock updates. This is where automated testing and integration really shine. So our CI/CD pipeline ensures that entire flow stay healthy, even as new code ships every day. Okay, now, so let's picture this. You push a code and you grab a coffee, and boom, Slack tells your test have passed. No refreshing dashboard, no manual checking, just instant visibility. That's the magic we'll build together. Slack powered test automation for Cypress test. Okay, let's talk about the agenda now. So here we have 3 simple steps. Initially, we'll start with the get Cypress test in GitHub, easy peasy. Now, the second would be we'll hook Slack with webhooks. And last, we'll build GitHub action workflows that make them dance together. Okay, quick thingy. Everything we do here is practical. So you can apply right along the workshop itself. And here is my small mantra is theory is when things don't work and practice is when things work and we don't know why. And our goal today here is make both works. And for my Dutchy friends, laten we beginnen. Let's begin. We are officially switching from slides to hands-on mode. Are you guys ready? Let's dive in. Okay, small prerequisites. I would request everyone to pause for 2 to 3 minutes and ensure you have Slack app login, GitHub access, and a terminal. These are the few prerequisites we would like so that we can have a smooth training. Okay, I'll pause a minute and maybe you can have all this in access. Super. I see Eric saying thumbs up. Okay, now. Also, if you're missing anything, don't worry. Just follow along and you can try it later as well. Right? Okay. So that's what we discussed. These are the 3 steps, the roadmaps, 3 long playlists we can say. Like first is the setup, another is connect, and the last is automation. Let's dive into the first step, Cypress test cases in GitHub. Okay, here you have 2 options here. For simplicity, I created, you can have your own test that will also work very efficiently. Or you can also clone my demo repo for now. If you do not have any repo in place, you can just use my demo repo. You can see the demo repo itself in the doc section. And yeah. Quick note, if you have your own Cypress test suite, I would recommend, and it's evidently important, that you create a folder setup in your repository in such a format that you have .github folder, and in .github folder, you create a folder called workflows. And later we will create a YAML file. For now, this is the only key point if you have your own Cypress test suites. And for those who are cloning my demo repo, it's a simple step. You can use the link. Just type in git clone GitHub repo and just move to the directory which is mentioned. And in the end, just npm install. And we are all tuned up. Right? So anyways, fine. You have your own Cypress test or by cloning the demo repo. I hope everyone made it to it. Should we move to the next step? Okay, let's dive into the next step. Now, our workshop journey has the next step which is called Slack time. Here are very simple steps. We have 3 simple steps to have the Slack integration. First is we'll create a Slack channel. The next would be enable and add incoming webhooks. And last, we'll add those webhooks in GitHub Secrets. Okay, the simple one, it's like creating a channel, and this will be our test alerts hub. Here you will see very simple steps. If you open your Slack app, in the left below corner above your profile picture, you see a plus button. If you hover on it, you'll see a create new, and we'll click on it. Once you click on it, in the first picture, you say create channel. Let's click on it. And then you see the option to create a channel. I would prefer to have a blank channel, but it's up to you. You are the driver here. And the third picture shows the channel name. So it's up to you to make it private, public, it doesn't matter. And you have to add the channel name itself. And I am adding as notify Cypress trust results. We will use this Slack name in the later stage, But for now, just click create and we are here, ready to receive the notification in this channel. Yes, so we have created a channel here. Let's move to the second part. Enable and add incoming webhooks. So this will be our webhook messenger. So if you ever wanted Slack to talk back to you, congratulations. This is happening here. Okay, so what I mentioned about so many times, incoming webhooks, I want to take a step back and explain what is an incoming webhook itself. For everyone, if anyone knows, that's amazing. But I also want to ensure that everyone is on the same page. So incoming webhook in layman language is something like a letterbox. It's a letterbox to your app. It's the only point of the letterbox is to drop messages, not to come in. You're not allowed to enter. You're not allowed to move things around. So here's a simple way to picture it. You create a special URL here. Whenever something happens, your system can send a message to that URL. And the app that owns this URL, like we can say Slack, will post a message. And that will be your chosen channel. Okay, so many details. We'll come to it. Let's keep it short. So incoming webhook is like an automated message senders that post updates to your app and whenever there's an event happening, right? Simple. We'll configure the Slack app step by step. Are you guys able to see the screen for the Slack API page? And also the Slack API link is also in the documents if you like to access it. Okay, whenever you click on the Slack API, you see this picture. We have talked about incoming webhooks, but why we are creating a Slack app here? If you're familiar with the Slack, you have seen a lot of apps in your Slack. It could be Google Calendar, Miro, Notion, so many apps you have seen in your app section. It's the same way we are customizing our own app. We are creating an app of our own, which will actually connect the Slack and the GitHub action. And for that, simple step is to click on it. Let's click on the Create app. After creating an app, you see a pop-up like this. I hope you're able to follow. And from there, you see a small step, which is from scratch. I want to highlight here that we select this from scratch and you see a pop-up something like this. Here we are adding our own app details. So you can name it anything, anything you like, which makes sense, of course. And one of the important part is the workspace you're using. So the channel you created in the previous step, make sure to refer that workspace here. So we will be using the channel and the workspace in the next steps. So I have added my app name as Cypress.suit notification and my workspace is called Snaps. Simple? Yes, I hope you also created yours and let's just simply create the app right away. After creating the app, you see some basic information here. It's your app. It's your app, your Slack app you created. And all the information is here. Now, our next step is to create the webhook, the URL, what we were talking about. So, before doing that, there's a small step I would like to mention. You can also customize your app. So sometimes when you see Google, Miro, you see some app icons. So I also like Wonder Woman. So I add the app icon of the Wonder Woman. Okay. Let's dive into the URL. If you see in the left side, there's called incoming webhook. Let me zoom it for you. Yeah, this one. Incoming webhook. You click on it. Once you click on this, you see something here called incoming webhooks. And from here, we need to first activate this incoming webhook. So simple step, you just have to click on this button and it turns green. As soon as it turns green, it gives more information. Now, here you will see this add new webhook in the bottom. Again, let me zoom it for you. Yeah, this one. You just have to click on it. Once you click, you see this pop-up kind of thing. Yeah. And what we are doing here, we are trying to make a connection. So we are connecting our app to a channel and creating a webhook for that channel. So that's what we discussed initially, right? So we create a Slack app, and that Slack app has its own URL, which actually is connected to your Slack channel. So any webhook URL you create is per Slack channel. So simply what the Slack channel we created in the previous step, we will just add it here. I created notify Cypress test results. I added here and I just allow the permission. So I allow the permission app to connect to this channel. And we are here. If you see in the bottom, can you see it? Let me zoom. Yes, this one. As soon as we create this permissions, we allow these permissions, we have created a webhook URL. This webhook URL is actually connected to your particular channel. And this is the golden ticket. Just copy this golden ticket and we will use this. Hey, just make sure not to commit this in your repo. Okay, this is very secret and this is supposed to be in GitHub Secrets. So I will mention in the next steps how to keep it secret, but remember not to commit in your URL. Okay, so I hope you copied this and let's move to the next step. Add webhook to GitHub Secrets. This is what I was mentioning, that we don't need to push anything URL in our repo. The idea is to keep the webhook safe and out of the public eye. This is one of the most crucial because this is something other people can access. Okay, now let's head to GitHub. If you have your own repo, you can just go to the GitHub, to your repository, and if you see in the top, you see code, public request, action, and down the line, you'll see some settings. You can click on the settings. And if you're using my repo, there's a slight chance you might not see settings. It's because of the permission. There are possibility your repo yourself, you do not see the settings permission because admin can restrict that. So don't worry. I've created this webhook URL in my demo repo, so you don't have to do anything here. Yeah. Okay. Let's head it here. The ones who have their own repo, you can easily locate this secrets and variable on the left side. Let me zoom it. Yes. If you click on this action, you see something like this on the right side. Action, secrets, and variable. So here is something we're going to add our secret to. And what are the steps? Very simple. You click on new repository secret, and once you click it, you see something like this. Action, secrets, new secret. If you see, we have two terms, name and secret. Under the name, you can put anything, but I would recommend to put something which identify yours secret itself. So I added a Slack webhook And I added my secret here, which we created in the previous step. And for the security reasons, I have deleted a bit, but for you, you have to copy paste the complete URL. So if you remember, we created a webhook URL of your Slack app of a particular channel you created. Copy that webhook URL and paste it here. And voila, add your secret. Here is your secret. Here is your webhook, Slack webhook secret. And of course, ensure this Slack webhook name will be used in the later stage. This will be used by the GitHub action workflows, and this is how our webhook URL will be picked up. Okay, so I hope you are able to follow. For now, we have done two major steps. We have our Cypress test in GitHub, and we have also have webhook URL, and we have ensured that webhook URL is saved in secrets. I hope you can follow this. Let's dive into the last and third step. And again, this is the fun part, GitHub action. We'll create a workflow that runs Cypress tests and send results to Slack. Think of it as like a coding, your personal testing assistant. Yes, let's dive in. Okay, in this section, we have so many talked about GitHub action, GitHub action workflows. Again, I want to give more reference here, what it means, why we are doing it. So GitHub action is also a CI/CD, which allows you to automate your task, whether it's testing, deployment, notification, in regards to various events. So GitHub action plays this role. And on the other hand, what we are using the word workflow is nothing but a YAML file that will define your series of automated tasks. Like, what do you want to do in that automation task? Do you want to run your test? You want to deploy your code? You want to do a setup? So it's like a top level structure of GitHub action. I hope you're able to understand what is GitHub action, what is a workflow here. So let's dive into three important steps of this. Initially, we'll start with initial configurables, workflow syntax. This is again part of a YAML file we are talking about. Then we'll do a setup of a single job of YAML file. And in the end, we'll send some notifications. Are you ready for the third steps? Okay. Okay, before we are diving into this third step, I want to make a quick recap, especially for the ones who have their own Cypress GitHub repo. I want to emphasize here that we should have this folder, which is called .github workflows folder. Some background, why we are doing it, why is it so important to build this folder structure? The reason behind is that GitHub action automatically detects the YAML file, okay, which is stored in this particular repository, in this particular directory actually. So you have to ensure whenever you create the repo, and the directory has to be .github workflows. So whenever GitHub will look for these workflows, it will look into this directory and trigger them based on the condition you have mentioned in your YAML file, but how he looks it into this directory. If you could see, I created a run test suite.yaml file in my directory. I hope you have also created yours. Okay, so let's move to the first part of the workflow, or the first part of YAML file. Initial configurables workflow syntax. So this is an overview about how initial configurables workflow syntax looks like. And let's dive it a bit deeper to know about them. Okay, this is our first syntax, which is name. And what is the purpose of having name? The name field defines the name of your workflow. It actually is a label that appears in GitHub Action UI. If you see your repository, your GitHub repository, GitHub repo, you have seen a lot of tabs, right? Code, PR, and the same time you see actions. So that is GitHub Action UI. And under that action tab, you see this label being appeared. And why does it matter? Why should I write a name? It does matter when you want to identify your workflow, when you have multiple workflows in your project and you want to have, hey, that's my workflow. So it's a friendly label to describe how does your workflow looks like. And here I named my workflow as example workflow. Now next, this is another syntax which is called run name. And again, this is an optional one. You could have your name, that is fine, but run name brings more value. What is the purpose of this? This run name field allows you to define a custom name for each run of the workflow. So it can be dynamic. If you could see, I added event name, SHA commit. So this identified each run of the same workflow. And where you could see it in run history. It's actually very helpful when I want to identify which run I'm running. This plays a very important role. So when you are debugging, when you're trying to identify, hey, which GitHub Action workflow which GitHub Action workflow was running, that's how you identify. Okay. The next trigger, the next syntax I'm talking about is on. This is a trigger defined in YAML file. So if GitHub Action is looking for these YAML file, and the next step would be when to trigger this, right? And this is dependent on the field called on. Let me tell you about what kind of triggers we have here. So if you could see, we have I've mentioned three set of triggers here. One is push, another one is pull request, and the last one is schedule. Let me give you a bit more information. What does it mean? Push trigger is something when you push a code. I also explicitly mentioned which branches. So I mentioned, hey, whenever you push code only in the main branch, this should be triggered. Again, for the same, whenever a pull request is created, updated on the branch main, this should be triggered. So these are set of options you have, and feel free to use it, not to use it. But yes, we need one trigger for sure. If you do not have single trigger, your GitHub action will not be there. So you are running your test, but you say, hey, I'm not getting a notification because you haven't actually mentioned the triggers itself. So that's an important task here. Sometimes you also prefer to schedule it. So I have scheduled it. One is a cron job, which runs every day at midnight. I hope that's easy, right? Just make sure you have the triggers. Of course, it depends on the driver's choice. What kind of triggers do you want? Okay, moving on, we talked about initial configurables here, how our GitHub action looks like. Now, let's talk about how to set up a single job. Yes. So what is job? When I'm talking about, hey, let's set up a job, this is our job. So if you see, jobs are actually a section in GitHub Action script, which contains all the jobs in the workflow itself. So I'm saying jobs is a section which can have more than one job itself. What I mentioned here that we are doing a single job here. And what is a single job? A single job is a set of tasks which we call steps in GitHub that will run in a specific environment, which is also sometimes called a runner. So jobs can run in parallel or sequential depending on your setup. So here for this demo, we are just doing a single job, just to keep it simple. Okay. How we are defining our job in GitHub Action. Each job has a unique name. And here, if you could identify, my job name is Cypress test. This whole section is a job. Let's dive in to see what jobs looks like. How are the tasks here? Okay, so one of the key part of a job is called runs on. So we have discussed this before, like to have an environment, to have a runner. So this runs on actually defines the environment or runner where the job will run. I have mentioned here Ubuntu latest, but yes, we have other options as well. The next part is called steps. Each job contains steps. What is the steps? These are individual tasks that will be executed in the same order we define our steps. There could be step like a shell command or to run a script. So there are a list of steps which you can see here, which will run and follow in this order. Let's take a closer look to these steps. Yeah. All right. The first one you see is checkout code. If you see, I mentioned here uses action checkout. This will actually clone our repository code. So in simple terms, it will grab our code, our repo code from GitHub repository to work on. And it will be on the latest checkout. So if you haven't pushed anything, it will not check out to that. It will check out to the latest code. And then next is setting up the node.js. Here I'm using actions/setup node to configure our Node.js environment. And here I would prefer to mention desired node version because there could be chances that my setup runs on certain node versions. So I can also add my versions, how my Node.js environment should be configured. So all those flexibility is here. The next part is to install the dependencies. If you remember in the initial setup, when I said, hey, you can clone my repo, and only part you have to do is that you have to clone my repo and click on npm install. The same way we would recommend to have this setup in a way when we run the npm install, it installs all the project dependencies. So it downloads the library, your tools, whatever, everything your project needs to run. So that's why we just click and mention the step npm install. Again, this is the important step, how you'll run your Cypress test if you not install the Cypress itself. So on a quick note, we just say npm install globally Cypress. So it will install the latest version globally. Yes, here. Okay, and the last step is to run Cypress test. Of course, that's the whole idea, right? We are doing all the steps and the last step is actually to run the test. So here we'll just use a command npm cypress run. You can always tweak it as per how you want to run your test. So I just mentioned, hey, let's run these tests. Okay, apart from the jobs we were talking, I would also point out this small thing. It's very basic that your website, when you are testing your website or your app itself, there could be possibilities that you have email, password, which is very common, right? And I would recommend as a security specialist that ensure those details are not shared in the GitHub action directly. The way we used Slack webhook, You can do same with email, password, so nobody can access it. Nobody has a public eye on your email or passwords. So whenever you are trying to make this job or this workflow, ensure to add the secrets. Okay, so that was all about the job itself, right? What we discussed, how to create a job. We set up on the initial configurables of the syntax. We already did the job itself, which is important. And then this is the last step, the third step, send Slack notification. And this is our last step of the workshop. And I'm sure this is the important one, which completes our cycle. Let's dig in. Okay, so let's see how to send the Slack notification and also which ones to send. I had received so many notifications, but which ones, right? So here sending Slack notification is important, but also important which one to send. This will be like an automation meets the visibility. It's not about testing, but it's all about communicating. Let's take a closer look. If you see here, there's a breakdown of send notification. And notification can be based on the results itself. It could be success notification, it could be failure notification, or you don't care, hey, I want all the notification. So you can, there's a very specific way of doing things, and we can see this in the next slide. So the first case I'm showcasing here is the failure notification. Yes. So if you could see and zoom in on the second, third line, which says if failure. So it's a simple command. Hey, is it failing? And then your notification are being sent. So you can always tweak your test as per the notification, as per the test results, I mean. So this will only shows whenever. Okay, thanks, Kelly. You can always shows this whenever there's a failure itself. The next one, if you could see on the third step, Eric, are you able to see it? I can also add this in the chat. Okay, super. If you see again on the third step, if success. So you can also choose to bring the success notification. Hey, I don't want the fail ones. I just want the success one. And then you just send your Cypress test notification whenever they are passed. The last one is also always. You can just choose, hey, either it's failure or it's success. I want all the notification. You just say, hey, always. But I would recommend few things from takeaways, and I would like to mention that in my next slide. Okay, whenever you send Slack notification, I would always ensure you have your on field, your scheduler or push notification enabled. If it's not, you will not receive any notification. So be vigilant about that. Also, I would like to mention what I'm saying from the start. Be the driver. You decide what you want in your GitHub Actions script. Whether you want to see the success, failure, how you want to see it. So this is up to you. And in the end, don't forget to push the code itself. Oh, we are here. Time to set it live. We'll push our code. In the demo, I want to show that I pushed my code and you can see the Slack channel lit up. It will be like watching the firework itself. Just a quick thingy. I just have to stop sharing for a minute and then reshare it. Okay, so this is a small video I tried to create. Let's keep it slow so that we can see what's actually happening. So if you could see my screen, I hope you can see the video itself. Yes? Super. Nice. And if you could see my screen, this is just for the demo purpose. I tried to create a pull request here. And I tried to merge the pull request. So if you remember the code itself, I mentioned if you push any changes to the main branch, there should be a trigger. So similarly, this pull request is already being triggered. And on the top right, if you see, I received a notification here. And this notification, we received two notifications, even though in the demo it's just one, but we received two notifications. If you see in the code itself, we have added two ways, that is success and the failure. And we can see it here. So I would like to mention here what I did. So whenever I trigger it and whenever I get the notification, I click on it. I came to this channel, notify Cypress test result. This is what we were building, right? This is my snaps workspace, and this is my notify Cypress test results. So whenever I pushed my changes, I got a trigger and I came here to check my results. And here you will see two samples because that's my demo code. One is sample one, which is successful, and that's deliberately I did it. And I did one failure. This is sample two, which is supposed to fail, just for the demo purposes. So here, both Slack notification being received. And when I received it, I can have a quick view how my tests are failed. I click on it. I just simply go to the GitHub Action UI, and I can see, hey, how my test failed. What was the reason the test was failed? So it makes the debug so faster. You don't have to find anywhere else. It's like, hey, notification is here. You click on the link and GitHub Action UI is there. You can always add Cypress Cloud, other details. Like I use Cypress Cloud a lot, which also helps me to debug more faster. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. And this is the recap I want to bring in small nutshell steps that what we have done here, we just have the existing Cypress test present in GitHub. You can use the demo. You have your own test set up. It's all good. And what you did was you created an incoming webhook in the Slack. And that is just for a particular channel, right? So webhook URL specified based on one particular Slack channel. And you add that in the secrets of GitHub. And from there onwards, you create your GitHub job, your GitHub action workflows, which access that Slack webhook URL and just does the work. Hope that simplifies it. Okay, I wanted to also mention this. While working with this all setup, all integration, there's always some tricky tricks things happening around. And I felt these were the top three. Permission could be painful in the organization. So if you are GitHub repo and you need settings, just talk to your admins early as possible, because you need settings permissions, or you need to access them to add the secrets as well. Also, be careful not to overload the Slack notification. Your team will not like it at all. They might mute it. So be careful when you send notification. It has to be precise. That comes to my third point. Be precise what you want to display in this Slack notification. Do you want to have a quick access debug, or you just want a status? That's you who needs to decide. You are the driver here. And that's all. That's it from my side. I have added some handy document references which could really help you. This is my repo, also how to run Cypress test in GitHub Action, and then some GitHub repo itself. Hope you enjoyed it. So if you have any questions, anything, feel free to ask. Okay then, Kelly, should we conclude? I think we don't have any questions so far. Okay, we have one. Yes, Sebastian. You're talking about the workspace itself, about the workspace to use, and I use Snaps. It's just a workspace. I created a demo Slack workspace in my Slack channel. You can use your official workspace, the company you're using, or you want unofficial. You want to create your own workspace and try how does it work. You can use that as well. So that's just my internal workspace I'm using so far. The snaps. Does it answer your question? Super. Okay, then. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to stay in touch, this is my LinkedIn, and feel free to connect. Let this automation goes on as well. I think the Cypress team will do that later. Yeah, Sebastian. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Ciao, ciao.